reported and available, and it talks about, among other things, training for Al-Qaeda members who may be captured, how to resist interrogation, and what things they should claim, such as torture. Whenever they're questioned, they should claim that they're being tortured.
Now, how does an interrogator, maybe you don't know this because it may not have been, but I wonder how an interrogator determines whether or not resistance techniques are being used by a detainee?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
I assume they don't talk, for one thing, if they know they have information.
In a frontline interview with Mark Jacobson, you answered several questions, probing questions about the field manual 3452 and the new techniques that Secretary Rumsfeld approved. Did you agree with all of the new techniques that were approved by Secretary Rumsfeld in, I think it's December of 2002?
Oh, yes, sir. The ones that he approved in December of 2002, I did agree with.
All right. In the same interview, you talk about tiers and percentages relating to the different interrogation techniques and detainees that they were used against respectively. Can you explain to the committee which of these tiers and what percentages of detainees they were used against that resulted from the 2002 memo?
Senator, I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, we're talking about the tiers and the percentages of detainees that had used these. Let me rephrase that. What rules and regulations or guidance was in place with regards to the use of these techniques at that time?
Well, I believe before the Secretary approved the techniques listed in that proposal from Southern Command, I believe what the command was using was existing doctrine, which was the old Army field manual, and then whatever the law enforcement community used.
We hear a lot about the Category 3 techniques. Are you were these ever used at Gitmo, or do you know? Category 3.
Okay, if you're referring to the proposal from Guantanamo in the fall of 2002, there were, I believe, 4 Category 3 techniques. Only one of those was approved by the Secretary, and I'm told that that was not used at all. So if they did what they were authorized to do, none of the Category 3 techniques would have been used.
Mr. Haynes, let me just tell you, one of the concerns I have, and several of us have, about all the hearings that we've had, are how they can be used politically. I saw a 1-hour supposedly documentary. I understand that this documentary is going to be shown sometime prior to the election. It was called Taxi to the Dark Side. You watch this for an hour. You get the impression that the leadership of the country was encouraging torture, that our troops, it's a real slam at them, are using it on a regular basis. I remember so vividly the last scene of this movie was someone being hung up by his arms, the shirt off, being stabbed with electric probes in the chest and screaming and all that. Now, that was actually just a Hollywood set, just like a Rambo movie. But you're led to believe that this is something that is going on. So I want you to know that a lot of us are very much concerned that there's a lot of political use of this that I don't really think is very appropriate. I would like to have you comment on the abuses at Abu Ghraib. Was this sort of thing happening everywhere, to your knowledge? And in your former capacity as DOD General Counsel, were the techniques that were used at Abu Ghraib in any way encouraged, approved, endorsed by Secretary Rumsfeld or anyone else in DOD, to your knowledge?
Well, there are a few things in that. First off, to my knowledge, no. They were not endorsed or approved or even reviewed by anyone above the Central Command level. But I think it's also very important to point out that what most people think about when they think about Abu Ghraib is the abuses that occurred that were not even interrogation at all. And I should add that these incidents have been investigated to a degree probably greater than any other incident in the Defense Department history. So there is a lot of data about what did happen and what didn't happen. And I think it's consistently determined that the photographs that were so widely broadcast in 2003 and even to this day reflect nothing that was approved interrogation. It was just flat out abuse by people who were not being supervised.
Thank you very much, and that's my feelings exactly, but I would also add that prior to the time we had our very first hearing on Abu Ghraib, the Army had started conducting its own investigation and had already taken some steps to have disciplinary action. That was my memory. Thank you very much, Mr. Haynes.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Inhofe. Senator Reid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Haynes, you were aware of the memorandum that were prepared by JAG officers in the service branches, which expressed significant concerns about most, if not all, of these techniques?
Well, Senator, you're referring to
Referring to memorandums that the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff solicited through Admiral Dalton.
Well, let me, if I may, try to get some clarity. You're referring to a group of memoranda that I do not recall seeing at the time. I believe I was shown a couple of them when I appeared before your committee in a closed session about a month ago, and that's the first time I recall seeing those memoranda. But as I was, pardon me, but as I was trying to describe to Senator McCaskill, I don't want anyone to walk away from my statement about that to suggest that I don't or didn't know that there were concerns about how the Defense Department should interrogate prisoners. That's what I was, you probably missed it, but we had a long exchange about this chronic debate about how to interrogate.
Well, I'm less concerned about this chronic debate, but the senior counsel for the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff deliberately tasked the representatives of the services to comment on this specific memorandum that Colonel Beaver prepared that was statement expressing significant concerns about all these techniques. And this is the opinion of at least 4 uniformed officers and some law enforcement personnel who spent their careers in the uniform of the United States, both as lawyers and as military personnel. And you were aware of those, but you weren't curious enough to ask them to be given to you so you could read?
Well, I don't know that I was aware of those.
Well, you either were or you were not.
Well, I don't recall being aware of any particular memoranda.
No, but let me, so you're trying to make a judgment about, a very sophisticated legal judgment about the Geneva Convention, law of torture, UCMJ, and you're aware of a debate going on within the services which expressed significant concerns, but you have no, forget legal obligation, no intellectual curiosity to ask people specifically what's the problem.
Oh, Senator, I've got lots of curiosity, and I take my responsibilities and took my responsibilities very seriously. This was a very serious issue. Absolutely, there were a lot of factors involved, very important questions, including the safety of the country and the urgency of the circumstances to try to get information from this individual who we knew. Who we knew was to be a hijacker on the 20th plane, who continued to claim he was a falconer.
Your fundamental responsibility was to render a legal opinion to the Secretary of Defense.
It was, and
his responsibilities included many of the things you referred to, the overall danger of the country. In fact, you could certainly have given him an opinion that, in your view, there were certain matters which would not be consistent, and he could have overruled you. But your obligation, I think, was to give him the best legal opinion. So let's just stick to that. And the other factor here is, where in your memorandum is there a reference to this is restricted to the Katani case only?
Well, you can read my memorandum.
I did, and there's no such reference. In fact, Category 1 and Category 2 are given a blanket approval by the Secretary at the discretion of General Hill at the time. The only reservation in Category 3 is not that it's illegal. You claim they're all legal. It's just as a matter of policy, we won't do a blanket. There's nothing here referencing Katani. And you're continually referencing that the only thing you were concerned about was Katani is not substantiated by the memo. And by the way, everyone can give bits about good lawyering, but if the case was Catani, I would think your memo would have said, in the case of Catani, you can do this, this, and this.
Well, Senator, I was there, and that was the catalyst, and that was the purpose, and that was what everyone...
But that's not the opinion you rendered.
That's what well, Senator, I mean, we don't do these things in a vacuum. And you missed my exchange with...
Well, excuse me, Mr. Ames, but I think you did it in a vacuum. You knew there was debate going on among the military legal officers. Great concerns. Yet you did not ask for their written memorandum.